Hopetown Volunteer Fire Department. The Coast Guard was searching yesterday. I didn't get a straight answer if they were out today. Tomorrow is our last good weather day, and I mean, some of my family's here on the island, and I'm dealing with the others, over the phone and things like that. We're all fucked up. Everybody's fucked up, really. I mean, she was the best part of this relationship, frankly, and it's I'm keeping up the faith is what I have, but it's incredible. I mean, like in the literal sense,
I saw it on Facebook, and it never even crossed my mind that it could have been you guys. And then Blaine just asked me, he's like, have you heard from them?
No, we are. She basically just bounced off the dinghy in the middle of a little blow, like 20-some knot winds that popped up, and on a half mile maybe trip back to the dinghy, and single thing failed. Every single thing. We weren't wearing life jackets. It was sundown, and the sun set like basically 10 minutes after she fell over. Dinghy key over with her because it wasn't clipped to anything or anybody, and she had the spare dinghy key in her dry bag, which was with her.
So she had her dry bag with her.
I got the oars unshipped. Yeah, it was inflated. Inflated because it was folded, but the wind blew us apart so fast that I think she tried to swim back to the sailboat, back to our sailboat, which was probably, I don't know, 1,000 yards or something. But the waves were 3 foot, and I was trying to ship the oars, and one of the pins on the oars broke, and that fucker dropped over the side. And I was yelling for her the whole time, and I yelled to her that I lost an oar, and I threw the anchor out and anchored the dinghy, and I yelled. I couldn't see her anymore. It was the moon had not risen yet, and the waves were doing their thing. And I saw her, I think, twice. I threw her a flotation cushion that we used to sit on the dinghy, right after she went in. But I couldn't tell if she got it or not. We've been looking for the cushion too, the search and rescue teams. But it's amazing how small a person is in 2 and 3 floaters and in 25 knot winds. And so after an hour of calling her, I could have never heard her voice. And a powerboat came by, and I waved my flashlight on my phone, and they were so fast they didn't even see it. And then another one came by right behind it, sort of 5 minutes behind it, and I grabbed the flares by then. I had 2 flares, and they didn't see the flares, I guess. And then I didn't know what the fuck to do. By the time I got the anchor set, I was probably a quarter to a half a mile away from her. And at that point, I was slightly closer to something which has a few houses on it, and I decided I had to go get help. But I could not get to the island with one paddle, and the tide carried me right the first house and then the second house. And so I ended up drifting and paddling for many hours until I landed on Marsh Island about 4 miles away. And somewhere, and then I hung through, the usual scrub and ended up in a marina or a boatyard. And the security guard, and we got the cops going. The cops got there like 4 in the morning, but they didn't get search at 4:30, and we didn't get rolled out until 5. And by then, she had been in the water for 8 hours, and by midnight, I was already freaking out. Hours, and nobody was coming to get me. If nobody was coming to get me, it's because nobody got her. And so, battled. There was nothing else to do. But hit the island as close as I could to that boatyard. It was pretty well lit.
How many people
This
do you
was
got, and do you
Saturday
need more?
night going. Sorry?
How many people do you got out there, and do you need more?
What's that? Tomorrow's the last good day, I think. I don't think they'll launch anything on Wednesday. There's a blow coming through, so I get what you're saying, but you know, my sister's flying in tomorrow. I'm going to rent a boat. I had to, so the dinghy, I landed in some crazy ass spot, like a movie. It was a little tiny 50-yard wide lagoon full of rocks and shit, and I beached it, and the cops, of course, they're thoroughly investigating me right now, so they came and tied the dinghy up. I just got the dinghy back today, and got the boat back to the harbor from where the anchorage was, so I have to rig some switches so I can single-hand it back there and conduct my own searches, but I can't tomorrow's. It's a fuck story. But we have the Coast Guard, Hopetown Search and Rescue, the Bahamian Defense Force were out today and yesterday. So tomorrow the same thing again. I just don't know. I don't know what. You know, it has to be tomorrow, I guess. I think they'll probably call it when the weather comes in. But I'm going out. They asked me today, the cops called me up and asked me how long I would be in the Bahamas till I get my wife back. And so that's my goal. I canceled everything we were going back home for, and I'm going to renew my visa and stay here. So I'll keep you posted on that. But, you know, I mean, by day, I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she is strong. You know, I mean, she's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's fucking determined. And she was the flare pistol I had slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern. And the dinghy, I took so many waves over the dinghy, I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also got wet. And so, man, the dinghy key was not attached to me, you know. So when we were fucking around trying to get back in the boat, the sun was falling when it fucking kind of dropped off. It was a magnet key, you know, for the electric motor.
So you guys were swimming? Yeah, because you guys have the Torpedo.
No. Yeah, we have a Torpedo. Well, we have equivalent. We have a 3-horse electric. It's a different model, but
okay.
You know, and it was a cascade of failures, and it's something I'm never going to forgive myself for. And then, so this happened like Saturday night, during all day at the place called Tahiti Beach, and they would have a beach bar that pulls up on a barge. And, you know, we hit the next stop, and we stayed too long, we left too dark, all kinds of shit. No life jackets. I had the 2 that you stuff, you know, under the seats that nobody ever wears for, you know, Coast Guard purposes. But we used to wear these fucking life jackets we had these other ones all the time. I can't explain what happened to us, you know. I fucking threw the dinghy the anchor out last instead of first, because the dinghy was all tangled up in the bottom. It was underneath a fucking other cushion and shit, and I was just trying to get to her, and I was gonna row, but it is ridiculous to think you can row a fucking dinghy, especially a fiberglass dinghy, against the wind in 2-foot to 3-foot swells.
You guys don't have the Wally boat anymore?
Yeah, it's not. We don't have a Wally, but we have a hard dinghy. It's made of fiber. It looks like an inflatable, but it's actually, the whole thing is fiberglass.
Okay.
And it weighs about, I think 240 pounds or something like that. And yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I can't even really can't really explain it. You know, I just know that I hate this boat, and if she doesn't come back, I'm never getting on this fucking boat. I'm gonna sell this fucker and never go here. Every single thing that's good on it came from her. Every cute idea and awesome idea. I just fix shit, but she really creates shit. And
She is so creative.
so wear your fucking life jackets. I know. Right next to me, I'm in a mooring field at a place called Conk Inn in Marsh Harbor, and it's got really good protection and everything, and which looks awesome. And me and the dude, we still didn't wear our life jackets, and we could have got run over, you know, in the dark by some of these Bahamian drivers are crazy, and they wouldn't see his stupid fucking headlamp instead of a dinghy light. And we just kind of take all these little things for fucking granted, because almost all the time it works. And it did not. There's a lot of shit that didn't work. The only, I guess, that worked was that there was an island in the way of me drifting out to sea, and I landed on it, and then I, you know, somehow got to shore. But even that, the cop had there's very few police here in the Bahamas. This is a bigger island. You know, I think all 5 or 6 of them showed up. But on the other islands, there's one or none.
I've never been to the Bahamas, and honestly, this sounds horrible. I was trying to piece this together, not knowing it was you guys a couple of days ago. So, where were you guys coming from and going to? Because that's what I couldn't figure out in any of the Facebook articles I was reading, like how to do a grid pattern search. Like,
well, I don't really understand the currents and tides here. I kind of rely on Hopetown. So off of a place called Elbow Key, and that's called Elbow, spelled Elbow K, C-A-Y. And we were kind of in the middle of the key, and there's a place called Tahiti Beach. It's really popular here, and it's a beach that dries out at low tide, and so a barge runs up on it and serves drinks all day from there. And there's a lot of manta rays will go around your legs and everything, and all of that. And so we really liked that spot, and we had been kind of stuck in the harbor for a while, so we were getting out and about, and we had to go to a different island called Great Guanakee to refill our scuba tanks, and it was going all right. And yeah, I mean, it's been strong easterlies, and that's what you get here is the trades, basically. You know, we're at the top of the trades, and so we were having, you know, basically 20-knot winds steady all day with a couple gusts here and there. And where we were anchored was pretty